Oh, that's really powerful, man. This is really, really good stuff.
It's just like God to like show you who you completely, like in a totally different way, who you are. And this was a piece of me I never expected to see. And he said, that's the one. When he saw it, he was like, that's the one. That's who it is for me. And to be in amazement. And one thing I am learning over these last 3 or 4 years is if we can actually ask Jesus or ask the Lord, how do you see my wife?
I wish I would have put that in the book. That is really good, because the part that you said that I don't think I put in that was really good was Men in the Arena Army. We salute you. Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of the Men in the Arena podcast. I'm Jim Ramos, your host and guide, leading you to your best version in Christ while living in that stress bubble of life and beyond. Today we're continuing in our Average Joe series on Guardrails, which is from my book, Guardrails, 10 Boundaries for an Unbreakable Marriage, that will be released on April 7th. But again, guys, let me tell you, these are not average guys. These are guys that are crushing it in life. They're doing great things. They're faithful. Today I got my good friend Dean Yoder here. So Dean is kind of famous in the studio. This pheasant behind me here, my son shot while with Dean Yoder on a hunting trip. If I go upland bird hunting, Dean is usually the guy who takes me. And Dean actually did all of the wood design for this studio. And I know that some of you guys have actually imitated Dean's design in your studios. So you have Dean Yoder to thank for that. So Dean's done all that. And probably Dean's greatest accomplishment, he's got 2 great kids. They're 29 and 25, 7, 30 and 25. But even more than that, he's been married to his beautiful bride, Beth, for 33 years. Beth is Shanna's best friend. So, Dean, I hope I did that introduction justice.
No, that was great. Yep, it was great.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I'm feeling a little guilty as I got a good night's sleep last night with my wife and the grandkids in the other room. So she was watching the grandkids overnight last night.
So she spent the night with the kids?
Yeah, they were at our house, and they love Mimi, but when it comes to sleeping, they sleep in the same room.
Okay.
And she's like, yeah, you don't have to sleep in here. So I got a good night's sleep, and I heard some of what was going on over there, and it was a little bit shaky for a while last night.
Oh, babe. Well, I'll tell you what. I hate these guys that one-up a conversation. I'm going to one-up you right now.
Go for it.
So we had a hip replacement surgery.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why my leg
yeah.
is sticking out.
Yeah.
A week ago, and last night it was weird. I thought I'd been getting 2 hours night, 2 hour breaks. Then I'd wake up 2 hours. It
Yeah.
equaled up to 6 or 7 hours. Last night I was up every single hour on the night. I slept horribly. I don't know what's going on. So that's why I've got my coffee. But
Yeah.
man, no guilt. If you get a sleep in, man, if you get a sleep.
Yeah, I got up early, but I did get to sleep good, I think, for the most part.
Well, most guys I would be like, dude, come on. But Dean Yoder, like, you're one of the best servants I've ever met.
Oh, my God.
And so, like, if Dean Yoder is, like, sleeping, you're going to let Dean Yoder sleep, because Dean Yoder will bend over backwards.
Gosh.
Like, the hours that you put in here. Have you seen these new things in here? Kind of our new designs?
No, I didn't see this.
So anyway, well, hey, again, it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah.
I sent you Guardrail 4 of the book.
Right.
You and Beth have been on vacation with me and Shanna at least 3 times, 2 to Hawaii, once to Mexico, maybe more. You've watched us interact, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so in the context of chapter 4, Frame Your Bride Well, do you have any comments, thoughts, questions?
Yeah. As I went through it and read it a couple times, and, we all, like, you don't really know someone until you live with them. Right. Or maybe you don't really know someone until you go on vacation with them. Like, so, life is life. Like, marriage is like, it's not, like you said, I think you said, it's not for sissies. Right. And I'm so fortunate to have such a great wife too. Like framing your wife, I think we all can relate to this. And, hopefully I'm not trying to put either one of you on the spot, but the chapter is about your guys' experiences with each other. And so, like, as I was going through, for all of us who probably have struggled or come up against this sometimes, for the first thing I was thinking is, and you're one of these guys, like, I tried to, like, examine my life about the guys that were in it, that I'm close with. And And you know what? I can't think of somebody that I'm really close to in my life that like tears their wife apart. I'm like, wow,
Interesting.
that's pretty cool. I mean, even some of my friends that I would say, they don't talk about their relationship with God. I don't know what their relationship with God is exact.
Yeah.
They really have healthy marriages that seem to have lasted. I mean, I don't see things going on behind the scenes all the time with them, but I'm like, what fortunate person I am to have lots of great examples of guys who just kind of humbly know that their wife puts up with them. They don't speak negatively about their wives, and I'm like, oh, I never really thought of that. So that's kind of
really interesting. Well,
yeah.
well, it's really interesting. I mean, when I think about your statement, I think there's something to that because, like, I could say the same for Shannon and myself. We purposely associate ourselves with people who care about biblical things and who care about things that God cares about. And one of those things is marriage. It's
Yeah.
the greatest illustration on earth to represent Christ in the church. It's how we interact with our wives. And so I don't want to be around. I don't want my wife to be around. We don't want to be around those kind of people. And so we typically will choose to be
Yeah.
around people who are like us in regard to marriage. We have tons of people that don't believe in Jesus, but
Yeah.
but I mean, you and I have a mutual friend that you introduced me to.
Yeah.
I don't know where he's at spiritually, but he's loved the same woman for over 3 decades.
Yeah.
He's got the values,
Exactly.
which so that puts me in a position, or you, that we want to be around the guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was kind of like after going through things for an hour or so this morning that I ended there, and I thought that's pretty cool to know that like that's like that we I don't even know if we say we purposefully have like, oh, we're going to go look for people who value marriage. It's just how that has kind of came together over the years.
Birds of a feather flock together.
Yeah, I guess. So, like, but if we were going to go back to the younger years that you started with, yeah, like probably one of the first things, like, and it's probably, I probably have an idea of why I asked this question, but like when you went to your mom that first time, like, what do you think you were expecting to get? Like, why did you go to your mom? And
That's
to
a good
ask that question, like what were you hoping to get from mom?
That is a good question. So I knew. So when I went to my dad with something similar, my dad instantly chose sides. Instantly chose sides.
Okay.
I'm the side he's on, not my wife. And for 20 years, he chose my side until I had to confront him and repent. But for my mom, I am very close to my mom. I would tell you I'm probably a mommy's boy. I just have always been very, very close to my mother.
Yeah.
And I called her because I needed a sympathy. I needed a shoulder to cry on because my mom's strength is compassion and empathy. Her weakness was discipline and being, kind of the hard line disciplinarian.
Yeah.
So I knew that she would not chastise me. I knew she would give compassion and empathy.
Okay.
And I needed that.
Okay.
I needed her to, and my mom, what I didn't tell you in that chapter, by the way, the chapter is Frame Your Bride Well.
Oh, yeah.
And in that chapter, I talk about probably my greatest infidelity towards Shanna, 20 years of framing her poorly. By framing her, I'm talking about the picture I'm portraying of Shanna to those people who interact with us on a regular basis. And so I did that poorly for at least 20 years. And so with my mom, I knew my mom wouldn't hold that against Shanna.
Oh, okay.
And my mom never has. My mom and Shanna are very, very close.
Yeah.
But for her, I went to her with that. But then with my dad, I would come at him a different way. And I absolutely did that wrong. Here's the deal. When Dean Yoder and Beth Yoder get married, everybody involved in Dean and Beth Yoder's marriage, and we've been involved. I mean, I've heard some phone calls from between Shanna and Beth about you.
Oh, probably.
Oh, baby.
There's plenty.
And you know what I mean?
There's
And then
plenty.
you and I have had talks about our wives.
Yeah. Right.
But the difference is you don't hold it against Shanna. I don't hold it against Beth, because when you two got married, you're no longer two, you're one.
Right.
And so we no longer choose sides. This is really important. You no longer choose sides, you choose the marriage. So as a counselor, as a confidant, you have to have the maturity to pick the marriage over sides. And so that is what I knew my mom would do, but my dad didn't. And I'm not blaming my dad.
Right.
I'm just saying they just dealt with it different. And so, and I want to have friends around my life that if I came to you and I was rampaging about something Shanna did, that you would talk me through it,
Yeah.
talk me off the ledge, point me back to the marriage.
Yeah. One of the things that I thought is, another question, I'm like, what do you think you meant by when you told your mom this was the biggest mistake? What did mistake mean to you?
Oh, man,
what
I'll
was
tell
it
you what,
actually saying?
I'll tell you, I remember being parked at the bottom of our little apartment.
Yeah.
Driving, I had sold my truck. We could only afford one car. I had sold mine. We'd kept her. She had a little Volkswagen Jetta at the time. I remember pounding the steering wheel with all of my force and all of my might and realizing I am locked. This is probably profound. I am locked into a decision that I cannot get out of. I don't know if you've ever felt that way where you made a decision, you're like, no matter what I do, I can't get out of this decision. And I knew I was never going to divorce her. I knew I would never do that. I was a Christian man. I was a youth pastor. But I'm like, I have made the biggest decision of my life, and it's a mistake. Because I believe, besides following Jesus, the biggest decision you'll ever make is who you choose to marry. And I'm like, I locked myself into a relationship I can't get out of. And I didn't know what to do. I felt like a caged animal. And I'm ashamed to say that now, but I felt so trapped and so enraged and so disappointed in this mistake I'd made in this woman I chose. I felt locked into it. But here's what happened. Very shortly after that, I realized it might have been in the car, still kind of, rubbing out the pain in my fists from pounding the steering wheel. Yeah. I remember I thought to myself, okay, I have a couple choices here to make. I chose Shanna, fell in love with this beautiful woman who loved Jesus, who served in ministry. I mean, glorious woman. I mean, I fell in love with this angel, and now I'm dealing with Satan, right? I'm like thinking, what am I doing? And I realized, okay, God's probably not going to take her out. I'm not going to divorce her.
Yeah.
So I've got two choices. I either live a miserable life with a woman I hate, or I find a way to love this woman and have a thriving marriage. And I remember sitting there saying, I want a marriage that thrives.
Yeah.
And the only way for me to do that is to fall in love with her the way that Jesus loves her and to love her the way that Jesus loves her. And I made a decision that I was going to go all in on this marriage, even if she never reciprocated. So that's how that ended up playing out. And it really changed. This may be a 6-month process, but it literally changed our marriage. And that is the day people, I don't know, I want to say famously, but one of the things, if there's one thing that we say here that guys often repeat to me, it's I decided I was going to outlove and outserve her even if she never reciprocated. Yeah. I was going to make her happy even if she never made me happy. Yeah. So I think that might have been the day I became a man.
Yeah.
I was 30.
Yeah, I like the idea that, and also the idea that I'm not going to sign a piece of paper that says I'm divorcing. But you also don't want to spend the rest of your life living separated. You think you go stand in front of the Lord to say, hey, look at me, I didn't sign a piece of paper. And he's going to say, but did you live connected? Or did you strive to live connected, or were you satisfied with living separated? Because that's why I think God hates divorce, because actually the word sin means to separate.
Yeah.
Right. And so we separate from Him, and like, hey, look, everything's fine, but we're going to live separated in our own house. How that's, to me, that's almost worse than like saying, in some ways, like saying, oh, I'm not going to sign the paper. I think when we say divorce, we're not just thinking sign the paper. But do we actually evaluate? Are we actually living connected to our spouse or bride? Or
I cannot tell you how many men I have spoken to as far back as a month ago that have divorced their wives and have said this to me: we've only been roommates for years. Oh, wow. They've lost the connectedness, they've lost the lovemaking, they've lost the intimacy, and they've realized we've become roommates. And that actually, you probably don't know this, but last week's episode was on Guardrail 3, which is staying emotionally connected to your wife. And so when God is looking for a helpmeet or a helper suitable for Eve, the word there for helpmate or helper suitable is the Hebrew words ezer kenegdo. It means one who stands opposite of me.
Yeah.
So she's got my back. I've got her back. She's got my back.
Yeah.
And then once God did find this person for Adam in Eve, then we don't know who said this. I like to say that God said it.
Yep.
But you have this beautiful phrase in Genesis 2:24 where someone, I believe it's God, says, therefore a man will leave his father and mother and cleave or be joined to his wife. The two will become one flesh. And that word joined to or cleave is the Hebrew word dabak. And that word has 4 meanings that are so deeply connected to connectedness. I'm not going to unpack them. You guys can go back to last week's episode. But God's desire is for us to be deeply, deeply rooted and connected with our brides. And I think this recent person who told me that him and his wife have just been roommates, they, I believe, put sports in front of their kids, put their careers in front of their kids. Put sports in front of their marriage, put the kids in front of the marriage, put the careers in front of the marriage. And the marriage is the most important thing. And so these couples 30 years down the road are divorcing because they never were connected. They were just roommates. Yeah. That's not biblical marriage.
No, I just had that conversation with a young man he said, hey, could we get together? I want to talk to you about hearing God and marriage. So he's planning on asking his girl to get married. And I'm like, oh, I was excited for him. In fact, I was really excited when I found out they were together. I was like, whoa, I didn't call that one. But I'm really excited for them. And one thing, this had a little bit more to do with making decisions in life, but also it's back to that Genesis, when God he said, hey, I'm looking for that suitable helper. It's not good for man to be alone, right?
Yep.
So he's like, I'm looking for that suitable helper, and I remember looking that up and seeing how he described the woman, or what Adam needed. He needed a suitable helper.
Yeah.
He brought all the animals before him and the
Aren't
birds.
You glad
right?
we didn't marry we didn't choose an ox or an elephant or.
But that was just it. I thought to myself. So I was having, in life, I'm trying to decide which way I'm going right now, what I'm going to do. And I thought, okay, so how many animals were there? How many birds were there? And I did a Google search, and it was 20,000 or something like that. And we read this sentence in the Bible.
Probably dinosaurs, too.
Yeah. Oh, well, any four-legged animal, it's we read that 2-sentence thing in the Bible, and we go right past it. I thought, how long did it take him to go through all of them? Did it take 5 years? Did it take 10 years? And all this time he's saying, nope, that's the one who soars and sheds, the eagle, that's cool. And then you got, dog.
Do you have really one with a belly button and breasts?
Right. So it wasn't.
Come on, something without so much hair.
And then he takes the woman is part of. He creates something out of Adam, and so what we don't look at enough, I don't think, is that the woman is that equal and opposite to.
Yes.
And he's pulled something out of you never knew you had inside you. Adam never knew something that amazing could come out of him. And it's just like God to show you completely in a totally different way who you are. And this was a piece of me I never expected to see. And he said, that's the one. When he saw it, he was like, that's the one. That's who it is for me. And to be in amazement of, I don't stay there with my wife all the time. I don't go back to that amazing moment. And one thing I am learning over these last 3 or 4 years is as if we can actually ask Jesus or ask the Lord, how do you see my wife? And I can put that lens in and speak to her true identity. You guys did a pretty good job kind of saying, hey, how do I call people up and not out? How do we call each other up and not out? And it's going back to who they are. And if you're having a hard time finding out, I don't know what good I could say about my wife. If that's the place you're at, you can stop, and this is called confession, and tell God that. Say, I don't even know, God, I can't say anything good about her right now. That's confession, and then ask him, what do you say about her? And start going with those positive things that come, and write them down. Now and you change your lens and start speaking that into her life instead of and that's confession, and that's repentance. It was when you start taking.
I was going to
that,
say you don't leave that repentance part.
And so that's his truth. You can tell him your truth.
Yeah.
And then he'll tell you his truth.
Yeah.
And we all know which one we need to go with. And then walking that out causes transformation. That's when the marriage can transform.
Man, I wish I would have put that in the book.
Oh,
that is really good.
You pretty much did.
Well, I mean, the part, not this part.
You pretty much did.
Well, I hope I did, because the part that you said that I don't think I put in that was really good is when I decided to stop putting Shanna in this negative frame, and framing her positively. The step I didn't take was to ask God, how do you see her? Now, I know how God sees her, because I've been with this woman for over 3.5 decades. Right. But how do you see her? She's adventurous. She's faithful. She's a wonderful friend. She's brave. She's beautiful. What are these things? But I never asked God, how do you see my wife? Because if I would have asked that question, then that would have been a no-brainer. I have the answer. I go from there, because I want to treat my wife the way Jesus sees her, the way God made her, right? And if I can treat her in the way that God has made her and help her to become the woman that God created her to be, I am literally being Christ to my wife, which is what he's called me to be.
Right, yeah. And so, I call this, looking for the gold. I was taught by somebody else, hey, look for the gold. And I'm like, and so then at work, a lot of times, we'd have time to watch some shows, and we watched that gold mining show, Gold Rush, right? Yeah. So do you remember what they call all the stuff that they move to get to the...
I do, because I had a friend who was on that show. It's called...
They call it the overburden.
Oh, that's right. Right? I was thinking timber.
Oh, okay, yeah. They call
it... Overburden, that's right.
They call it the overburden. So each one of us has this pile of, as life goes on, of overburden that covers up the gold. And so the best, and so with our eyes, our lens, that's the best we're going to see. We're going to see behavior, and we're going to judge people on behavior, and reputation, stuff like that. That's the best we can see. But when we remove the overburden, we get down to the gold. And so, as believers, that's kind of something I kind of came up with, as by watching that show. Is I can't base who they really are off of their overburden, because I don't know their history, I don't know their story, I don't know what kind of things they're trying to protect, or wounds, or who knows. Just like the rest of us, if I really apply it to me, and I need to dig down and find the gold, and that's where we can ask.
Well, so this is interesting. So when I'm the picture I'm seeing of an overburden is a sediment that's covering the gold.
Yep.
So just to carry your thought out, which is really brilliant, that overburden creates a weight that gold can't rise above.
Right.
And then I'm thinking of Jesus in Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 to 30, where Jesus says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy, my burden is light." And so Jesus is saying, hey, bro, remove the burden off the top so you can get to the gold, whether that's in your own life, which would be the case of Matthew 11 in context, but in the case of your wife, to remove that overburden and see what God is seeing, and move away all the stuff that you're seeing that may not be from the Lord. And I think this is the biggest problem. When I talk to guys, they're divorcing their wives, they're cheating on their wives, they are having emotional affairs with their wives because they think the grass is greener on the other side.
Right.
And when I was about 5th grade, you'll love this story. I was in 5th grade living in California, and I noticed we moved to this brand new house, and I noticed, this is a true story, I noticed the lawn, there was a 6 foot by 8 foot rectangle in the middle of the lawn that was greener than the rest. And I just could not, I was just enamored by this. That is the coolest thing. What happened? Did a spaceship land here? I mean, is Chuck Norris buried? I mean, I don't know. And my dad said, oh, that's where the septic tank is. It covers all the blankety blank.
Right.
And I mean, so when we start framing our wife negatively and we only see the overburden, right?
Yep.
And we think that green grass on the top is the real thing, it's just covering a bunch of garbage, because it's just not true. And so it's our job to fix the narrative.
Yeah, change your lens.
Change your lens, yeah.
Because that's what it takes, is spiritual eyes. And then the cool thing about it is we're engaging Jesus in this. And so one of the things I'm trying to learn in this season of my life is he's not going to ask me or command me or tell me to do anything that he's not willing to provide the strength for. like I think we go a lot of times, and I think I have to do this in my own strength, and that's like if you're thinking I could never do that, you're probably right.
Yeah, 100%.
But
And your God is pretty freaking small.
well, then that's where you need to turn to him, and he's going to provide. He wants to serve us. He really wants to serve us, and we don't like to let him serve us. Peter didn't want him to wash his feet, right? No, you're not washing my feet. No, you're going to have to let him wash your feet. In fact, you might need some. He didn't. That's all he needed, but like at certain points, we might need some more washing.
That's been the crazy thing the last week. My wife has washed my feet every day.
Oh wow!
Because I can't reach them.
Wow!
Isn't that crazy?
That is
like
cool.
I'm sitting there going, "Wow, you are washing my feet." Like it's been pretty powerful, you know.
Yeah, that would be that would be to receive that. Like we don't like we like to receive, but then on the other hand, we don't.
Well, we think, oh, I can wash my own feet. I'm an American man.
Right.
But what if you can't? Like I can't reach my feet.
Yeah.
And so there's a humility there, and just going, like even this morning, just getting dressed. I've been wearing sweats for a week, so I put on pants.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honey, I need you to dry my feet. Honey, I need you to put on my compression socks. Honey, I need you to tie my shoes. Oh, can you tie this one more? But see now what happens from there is her serving me without her serving me with the purest of motives and the purest of intentions. That creates a great opportunity for me to frame her,
right,
move away the overburden,
right,
expose the gold in her heart,
right.
And then people go, man, your wife is awesome. And I go, oh yeah, I mean, of course. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No.
So that's really powerful, man. This is really, really good stuff. Anything else about that chapter? To me, this was the most difficult chapter to write, and it was the easiest chapter to write. And what people don't know, I've got another book, a collaborative book coming out in about 6 months called Wisdom from Our Scars. It's a collaborative book with NCMM, National Coalition of Men's Ministries, and I actually have written about this in that book as well. And so really good stuff. So any closing thoughts or comments on this chapter, Dean?
I thought, and I need, like I made a little note, said good advice at the last part about framing in the dips, because it is an up and up. It is a roller coaster ride sometimes, like excitement, but it has its ups and downs and low points and high points. And I think that this overburden and this gold thing, when I read what Shanna put on there, it sounded like we could apply the same concept there. You know, she said she wants to be a realist. Well, if you really want to get the realist, the most real perspective is we have to go to God with who that person is, especially in the dips.
Yeah.
Right. And you went to your mom for compassion and empathy, and like sometimes, you know, our dander is up enough sometimes that we're like, I don't know if I can trust that person right now with a confrontation or talking to and looking for empathy, but like learning how to like go into a conversation or confrontation with your wife from a place of, I know who they are, I know who their commitment to me, and with some humility, like sometimes I just have to say, listen, you know, Beth, I know this is kind of my issue, but this is where I'm at right now, and I'm not sure how to do it, and like I'm not trying to blame you, you know, those types of things. You have to realize that sometimes the problems that we think are the other person's all come from a place of like maybe insecurity or pride or ego. Like, I mean, what would it say to somebody if right after I got married I go to him and start telling him, like, I just made this commitment and decision to spend the rest of my life with this person, and now I'm saying nope. Like, what does it say about me?
You know what's funny, man? I don't know, 5 years ago, I went through the book of 2 Peter verse by verse. I typically will go through books of the Bible verse by verse and journal the whole thing. And I'm in Philippians right now, almost done with Philippians. But I was in 2 Peter, and you're going verse by verse, verse by verse. And that book, if you were to ask me, what's that book about? Oh, Peter is constantly reminding Christians about what they believe. The whole book. Remember this? This is a reminder. I'm like, why do you keep doing that? Well, because we forget.
We do. Yep, you're right.
And when we have a woman with us for 30-something years, we forget. We forget to pursue her. We forget to frame her. We take advantage of her being in our life. Yeah. And all these things. And even just taking advantage of her being in our life without positively framing her hurts the narrative.
Yeah.
Because now we're refusing to put brush strokes on that frame.
Right.
We're leaving a frame to fade. And I think that's what happens also when, or if you fail to, you're like, oh, I see the overburden, but we're not going to remove it. We're just going to let it sit there and hope something comes up.
Right. Well, then, what would I use against her? Like,
Yeah.
like when I get mad, what am I going to,
Yeah.
we want to leave it right there so we can go back to it. And I think somebody called it a suitcase of evidence we're going to keep on file so we can go back.
Oh, well, we got plenty of evidence against our wives.
Oh,
and trust
I'm
me,
sure.
they've got plenty against us. But that's why God has called us. We are not called to be ledger people. We're called to be forgiving people.
Right. Well, usually those things are just forms of self-protection or self-promotion because our ego and pride get in the way.
And those are the things that are contrary to biblical Christianity.
Right. Yep.
So the moment I feel ego, somebody once said, ego is edging God out. Okay, yeah, I'll take that. Or pride, or most of my problems with Shanna come back to my selfishness, my pride, my ego.
Exactly. I would agree with me too.
And I guess that I could also say that means that I, in those moments, am refusing to die to myself and live for Christ.
Exactly, which is how he asked us to serve our wives. If we want our wives to submit, what do you want them to submit to? Somebody who's dying for them, or like Christ loved the church by laying down his life, or be a head be a head, which to me means be a life source, like the river, where the river starts. Be a head, be a life source.
Man, this is a good conversation.
I know.
I sure appreciate it.
Too bad we couldn't always live it out all the time.
I know.
Right? We're having this great conversation.
Dean, I know we're.
the ladies are making notes right now.
Oh man, I could just imagine on vacation, the next vacation,
Right.
on, hey, remember that podcast?
That? How's the gold going there? Let the overburden go.
Yeah, I forget to put some brush strokes on the paint there.
Yeah,
honey?
exactly. Dang it.
No, I'm just kidding. I just negatively framed our wives right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, I would say
Assuming they're going to throw it back in our
well,
faces.
we're assuming we're not going to do it too, so we have to start thinking
Yeah, that's
more highly
true.
of
Man,
ourselves.
we're just a mess, Dean. We need help. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed today's conversation with my buddy Dean Yoder. Until next time, feel the wet sand on the arena floor. Hear the deafening roar of the crowd. Taste the sweetness of victory. Smell the stench of battle. Get in the game. Get dirty. Grind it out. Frame your bride well. And be a man.